Hi guys. All right. I have some crazy news, so buckle up. I wasn't planning on making this video. I know I've been popping out a ton of content on my YouTube channel lately, but this video needed to be made. I just finished recording my recent What Sold video. That video might come out before this video, but after I finished recording that What Sold video, I was sitting next to my husband and I asked him, hey, will you fix our Google Sheets? It's essentially an Excel sheet where I write down all my reseller information, numbers, and such. And I asked him if he would fix that. Well, I went to the bathroom and I came back. And so we started working on it because I noticed for a couple of weeks now that on one of my listings that sold, it gives you like a price breakdown. And what it said I made in gross profit was less than what my sheet said I made in net profit. So I know that something was going on, okay? Because my sheet and Depop were telling me two different things. Today I realized, you guys, that Depop has been charging me a seller fee, which Depop got rid of seller fees in July 2024. So everything listed after 2024 doesn't have a seller fee once it's sold. So not everything that's sold after July 2024, but everything that's listed after July 2024. But alas, that's still several sales on Depop. Luckily / not luckily, I don't make a ton of sales on Depop, so it wasn't that hard to go through everything. But if we're just talking about sales after July 2024, I know that some of those sales in the beginning, close to July 2024, were probably things that I listed before July 2024, so seller fees would still apply. But let's just say that, I had started listing those listings that sold in July 2024. I went through every single listing and added up all the Depop seller fees that Depop wasn't supposed to charge me, at least for most of those sales. And it's $434.37. So mine is probably like 10 listings after July 2024 from things I listed before July 2024. All of those other listings up till now should not have a seller fee, because if you live in the US or the UK in July 2024, they said that anything listed after July 2024, there will be no seller fees. And like I've seen Depop advertisements, talking about how there's no seller fees. There is a transaction fee, which I think is 3.3% plus 45 cents. I can't remember exactly. I just Googled it, but it's something like that. And I've been charged this whole time. I mean, that is crazy, okay? So after adding up all of that stuff, I went on to Depop support and I said, hey, I have been charged the seller fee for months now. And that's when I went to go add up the numbers. And then I finished my message to Depop. And it's weird because when you send out a message to Depop in their help center or their contact Depop page, you have to fill out a reason, and they ask you a bunch of different questions. And there wasn't a specific category for like money and like money problems. And so I just basically clicked kind of random ones. So I'm hoping that doesn't mess with my actual issue, but I couldn't leave those categories blank and they didn't have the correct category of problem that I needed help with. Well, after I submitted this request, I went onto Google and I just typed in Google, or Depop has been charging me seller fees ever since July 2024. And I think I saw a Reddit post of someone saying that this happened to them too, beware. And they said that they were able to get their money back, all the fees that Depop charged them, but they had to send in all of their screenshots. So maybe that's what I'll have to do, although those first few sales in the beginning, I'm not sure which ones were listed before July 2024. I don't even know if Depop knows, because I think some of those listings are deleted now, but that's still going to be more than $300. I just wrote this on the back of this Harmon's receipt. It's super late at night. I was about to go to bed, right? I had recorded my What Sold video, but this is crazy. Has this happened to anyone else? I feel like I heard this happening to someone and I'm like, oh, that sucks, right? And then I just never checked that it was happening, right? I felt like Depop was taking a lot of fees, right? Because my Google sheet is telling me the correct amount of what I should be making, right? But I have been making less than that for months and months and months on Depop because of this seller fee problem. And I just kept telling my husband, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like, I can't believe they've been, taking all this money from me. I had one Doc Martens sale, which took like Depop took like a $20 fee, but most of them were like in the $1 to $4 range. Some of them were like $5 and $6. But I said, this is crazy. Depop has been taking all this money. I was like, can I sue? And he said, well, if they refuse to give your money, then you can sue, but it's probably not worth, investing in a lawyer and such. And I'm sure Depop didn't mean to do it. And I also thought, oh wait, is the no Depop seller fee just for new sellers? So after everything, I also Googled, this was after I Googled, has this happened to anyone else? I Googled, is the no Depop seller fee just for new sellers, like sellers that have just joined after July 2024? And Google's AI said no. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. So we will see what happens. It is Thursday. Actually, I think it's Friday now because we're past 12, but it's technically still the day of Thursday because I haven't made it to bed yet. We will see when Depop gets back to me, what they say. It will be kind of annoying if I have to send in all the screenshots and then crop them because I don't necessarily want to show my full screen on the screenshot, but we'll see if I'm going to get a big investment. Like, let's see if I get like $400 of money real soon, because that would be amazing. That'd be like the best reseller month ever. I guess it's almost the end of August. So in September, it'd be like my best reseller month of earnings the whole year. I really hope that I get my money back because they've been charging me this whole time. And I feel kind of dumb though too, because I feel like I'm smart. I always did really well in math at school. I'm a very visual learner. And so I was able to do the study tests well. And then because the study tests were so similar to the actual test, I just knew how to do all the equations. But I feel like I've kind of dumbed myself down because after I finished going to school, I only went to 1 or 2 semesters of college before I got married. And then I just didn't go to any more semesters of college. I kind of like dumbed my brain down. And my husband's very, very smart. Like, he's very computer savvy, which I'm just not. And so he built my Google Sheets sheet for me. He figured out the algorithm and everything. I think Google Sheets is similar to Excel sheets, but I'm not really sure the difference. I think Excel is a part of Microsoft. But either way, my husband set that up for me kind of recently. I went a long time in my reselling career just using like a sheet that I had made, and then he actually made me a reseller sheet that, had told me how long the item had been listed, my price breakdown and all that good stuff. Yeah, I just feel dumb that I never checked because I trusted Depop, and I really don't have any callousness toward Depop. I'm not mad. I don't want to beat up, whoever's in charge of their systems in the background, but I'm mostly just shocked and excited that I'm going to get this huge return, because I'm hoping that I get this huge return, right? That'd be a ton of money. Let's go out to dinner, y'all. I'm buying, right? This money that I didn't expect. It's kind of like, I think a couple of years ago, my husband was overcharged on taxes a little bit. And so we got a big return, which is really exciting. Except for this year on taxes, because I hadn't been setting money aside for my reselling business, and my reselling business is doing so well, we had to pay $2,000 something, which, is kind of sucks, but it's also a good thing because it means I'm doing really well in reselling. But that's all I had to say for this video. Maybe I'll provide an update on my channel. This is insanity. Like I said, let me know if this has happened to you, or someone else that this has happened to, because like I said, I feel dumb. How could I not have known? But I don't really look at my numbers that much. I just trust what's on the sheet. I don't really look at the numbers in every platform. I don't go on to Poshmark and everything. And I know some people calculate their numbers using their cross-listing software. I know Vendu has kind of a numbers and analytics, but I don't really look at those just because I have a lot of listings that I listed and cross-listed not using Vendu, right? So my statistics are kind of skewed, right? Had I started my reselling career starting with Vendu and then, cross-listed everything from Vendu from the start, it would have been really beneficial, but I didn't. And so, yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. And I may provide an update, and maybe I'll get a ton of cash flow coming in soon.